With my debut feature film Melanie's Grave due for release soon, I thought it would be a great opportunity to catch up with some of the cast and talk about their experiences making the film. Right, so if you just want to introduce yourself, tell the audience who don't know who you are and what role you had on the film.
I'm Lucy and I played Young Mel in Melanie's Grave.
So it's been 8 years since you played Mel and we're finally getting the film released. So how does that feel? It's going to be available for everyone to see. How do you feel about that? And has it been worth the wait, do you think?
I think it'll be really weird watching myself back. It feels weird, the fact that we nearly didn't have a film, and the fact that it's going to be out for everyone to see. It's quite nerve-wracking because of how young I was and stuff. It's just crazy how it's coming out. Couldn't believe it.
Have you mentioned it to friends and family? Do they know about you've been in the film because it's been such a long time?
Yeah, they're all a bit confused as to how it came about and stuff, because obviously where I work now, they're like, what on earth? But yeah, a lot of people are excited to see it. Everyone keeps asking when it's going to come out and stuff, so I think people can't wait to see it.
So obviously it's been such a long time. Can you remember what it was like playing Mel? And because obviously you had to copy some of Rachel, who played the older version of Mel, you had to copy some of her mannerisms. So what was it like kind of playing that, and how did you go about almost kind of copying Rachel as well?
I remember you went through the kind of traits that Mel had, and I kind of watched Rachel's performance and stuff and just basically copied what you did, and it took a while, getting our walk and stuff and our mannerisms and the rocking and stuff. It was interesting to learn, but it was fun at the same time.
So did you do, because Mel's got autism, did you do any kind of research into that, or did you just kind of base your character on the older version like Rachel was playing?
I think it was more based on her rather than researching into autism. I was a bit young to kind of understand, but
looking back on the film, what was your kind of best memory of working on the film?
The crew. I would just have a laugh all day. James beatboxing and stuff. Between takes and stuff, it was a really good atmosphere. Every day filming and stuff. And I loved going in public and that. I remember the police scene when Mel gets chased through the alleyway. That was one of my favourite days because I felt like a bit of a rebel for the day.
So if that was your best memories on the film, was there anything that stuck out that was kind of your worst memories of the film? Anything that you didn't like about the film or the process?
I think there was a lot of waiting for Young Mel, between takes and stuff. You did get a bit agitated and stuff between takes, and while other people were filming and stuff. There was a lot of sitting about in the freezing cold weather at the woods. I remember there's a picture of me holding the umbrella with a blanket round us freezing. But yeah, that was probably the worst bit, but I wouldn't say there was bad bits.
So when we shot the film, you were only 14, so you were still obviously at school. Now I can't really remember, but maybe you can. What did you do about school? Were we shooting kind of during the days when you were at school, or was it just weekends? Or
I think it might have been. I'm sure it was the holidays. I think some of the filming I had to do it on a weekend, and then some of it was in the school holidays. I'm sure it was around that time. I can't remember.
There were some quite challenging scenes that you had to do personally for yourself. So how did you approach doing those particular scenes? And obviously, I was kind of involved in some of those scenes with you as well.
Yeah.
So how was that kind of when you were that young as well?
Yeah. I remember throughout the whole, even the audition process and stuff, you would explain this is the type of scenes we're going to have to do. I remember we had a briefing before we filmed it and stuff. It's with me, Mal and that. And we really had to sit down and say, listen, this is how it's going to work. It's going to look different on camera, but it's like this off camera. So I remember it was really nerve-wracking. I didn't know what to expect, but when we went through it, it was totally fine.
Because obviously I was involved with some of those scenes, so I was quite nervous doing those scenes as well, and how it was going to be kind of seen. Now basically when the film's coming out. and kind of how to react when you're there in the moment with like people standing around watching as well.
Yeah.
That was quite nerve-wracking as well from my point of view. So obviously from yourself as well doing that, that must have been quite. Was it kind of traumatic afterwards, or did you just like think, oh, well,
I was pretty chill. I don't know how I was so chill, but yeah, I just brushed it off. It was just one of them things, just a day filming.
So if there was an opportunity to play Mel again, like perhaps maybe as a teenager, would you be up for playing Mel again? You know, if you happened to do, if this film did exceptionally well and there was a sequel kind of on the cards.
I mean, possibly, yeah. I haven't done acting in God knows how long. Completely stopped that, but like if it was to come up, I probably would, yeah.
You were getting paid.
Have to, yeah. Have to.
Thinking back again to when we were on the film, what was the better experience from your point of view, shooting at the house location or shooting out and about when we were at the woods location?
They both had their perks. I mean, the house was warm. The only thing about the house was you had to be quiet. And it was like sort of a tight space, whereas the woods, it was like a big adventure, wasn't it? Like, it was just, I'd say the woods was the better experience. As much as the weather sometimes affected it and stuff, I just thought we had the most fun. I got to do a lot more in the woods, like running and stuff, which I enjoyed a lot more.
Yeah, I quite liked the woodland location because obviously a lot of the time we were tied up in that house. It was like stuffy and just tripping over people and equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
So to get out in the woods and like have all that space, and I just remember like we had like a little area where we were sitting. We had like a little camp.
Yeah.
Everybody, and then we would go off like miles away to like do a bit of film. And I remember like the odd time where you'd lose someone. You're like, well, where'd they gone? They'd like disappear in the woods somewhere.
Yeah.
So I've got lots of memories of like all the times that we had in the woods.
Yeah.
It was just great to be out there in nature and what have you. Obviously the film's coming out and some actors prefer not to watch themselves in the films that they've done previously. So is that you? Do you not like watching yourself, or do you not mind watching yourself back in films or your performances, and are you quite critical about yourself?
I think it's human nature to kind of cringe at yourself on camera. I think it's just something you do, especially if you haven't done films before. It's going to be really odd watching yourself on camera. I am looking forward to watching. I mean, we have seen the film, but I'm looking forward to everyone's reactions and stuff. It is human nature to cringe though, especially because I was so young.
Can you remember, or do you want to explain how you actually got the role of Mel? So if you just want to explain kind of maybe what happened and how you kind of felt afterwards when you were given the role as well.
I remember it was an odd process. So I was at like a fair at my hometown, and the person that spotted us went up to my mum and said, "Oh, we're making a local film, and she looks like the younger actress, the old actress that was initially going to play Mel. Would she be like up for auditioning for the film?" I remember my mum coming up to us and like saying it, and I was just so confused. And it was lucky because I did want to do acting and performing and stuff, so I was excited. And I remember the process of auditioning. You just asked us to like send a video of, I think it was it being afraid of your father or something, and like getting into a like little argument with him. I think that's the kind of thing that I filmed, and then I think that was it.
You were only 14 when you actually appeared in the film, and you've obviously changed dramatically over the years because you've grown up. So I think you kind of already answered this question, but are you still acting? Have you shot any other films since? Do you have any ambitions to do any acting in the future?
So I'm not acting anymore. I mean, I did go to performing arts in college and stuff and tried it out, but it just wasn't for me. I just criticised myself too much, and it just didn't work. I wanted a job, I wanted to get paid, and performing is like, it's quite rough for the first few years you do it, and if you don't make it, it just stays the same. So I decided to just pursue other things. But if there was an opportunity to act again, I probably would, definitely. It was just, I'm not out there, I don't audition or anything, so I probably wouldn't come up again. Okay. Retired.
Semi-retired. Last question that I have actually is, what memories kind of stand out for like working on the film, that kind of stand out for you personally? I think you've kind of touched on that a little bit, but is there anything else you want to add, that memories of the film?
I remember watching Rachel and I forgot her name.
Susan?
Yeah, Susan. Doing the fight scene.
Right.
That day was like really good because I'd never seen any of the choreography or anything, and it really shocked us that they could do that and not hurt each other. I mean, Susan did get, she got a little, was it an elbow or something?
She got kneed in the face.
Kneed, that was it.
Sure.
I remember that. That was like quite a fun thing to watch. It surprised us as to how good it looked on camera and stuff. So yeah, it was just things like that.
There's another question that's just kind of popped into my head. So you were there when we had the two different versions of the older Mel. So what was it like, the comparison between the original actress who was called Natasha and like when Rachel took over? Did you see any difference in their performances, and which one did you think was the better performer?
I remember I was really upset when like Natasha didn't end up doing it because I thought that was the end of the road. I thought that was it, no filming. But then when Rachel came in, you saw like a different perspective as to how she saw Mel. And both their performances were so different. But I think like Rachel really like sinked her teeth into the character and like made a bigger performance as to like what Mel should be.
Yeah, because Rachel had previously worked with like, adults with autism, so she kind of had an insight into the behavioural kind of things that they kind of did in the way they spoke and the kind of, you know, not looking at people directly.
Yeah.
So she had all that kind of down like pat, you know.
Yeah.
So obviously that was better for you to follow her.
That's
what
it.
she was doing as well. So I think when I've looking back at the footage that I've done recently, there's the two performances of the two actors are like completely different. Absolutely completely different.
Yeah, well, they perceived it different, haven't they? Whereas, like, I think Rachel's, like, no autistic person is the same. So she's probably just, like, she's a lot more experience in that thing, isn't she?
Is there anything else you want to say before we end this interview?
No, I don't think so. Just I'm excited to see it and see everybody see it.
Well, thanks for coming today, Lucy. Absolutely great to see you again.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.